When trying to apprehend drug dealers, find a replacement for his post. Hi friends, welcome back to a new amazing video from Rolling Movie Recaps. Today I'm going to recap a 2007 crime and action film titled Elite Squad. Spoiler warning, watch out and take care. The film opens with Officer Captain Oliveira and his comrades appeared voyaging through Morro de Babilonia towards a Bale Funk within the 1997 film In Medias Res. Nascimento and his colleagues are moreover seen in their armored vehicle. In the interim, within the same favela, rookie police officers Andre Matias and Neto Galvia are seen riding a cruiser in spite of the fact that they're not with the other policemen. Neto uses the scope of an expert sharpshooter rifle to keep an eye on the police squad when they talk with drug traffickers once they've come to a vantage point. Neto shoots one of them, setting off a lethal gunfight between cops and hooligans, with not one of the other side knowing where the bullet came from. Matias and Neto are constrained to escape the scene. Nascimento brings his BOP, Rio Extraordinary Police Officer, colleagues to the shooting and arrange to mediate and spare the policemen. Nascimento and his wife Roseanne, who is 6 months pregnant with their first child, are pictured 6 months earlier. Nascimento decides to find a replacement for his duty as a captain because he'll be promoted to lieutenant colonel, and he doesn't want to be an absent father when his child's born. This coincides with an operation he'll be leading at Morro dos Prazeres to secure the area and clear it of drug dealers so Pope John Paul II can spend the night in the Archbishop's home, which is close to the favelas and slums. Nascimento is initially opposed to the operation, which will involve daily journeys into the favela crowded with heavily armed drug lords, but he's pushed by his superior to accept it as his final mission due to the Pope's considerations and conditions, which cannot be revoked. Meanwhile, Neto and Matias make their first appearance as cops. Both are honest and try to avoid corruption, but their crooked superiors soon disillusion them. While Neto begins his career as a supervisor at the police auto mechanic shop, where he's in charge of the mechanics who are responsible for repairing rundown police cars and bikes with parts from newer cars, Matias is in charge of repairing and listening to police dispatchers, as well as registering and filing every complaint in his small archive office with 2 other officers. Both share a small apartment in Rio and have been friends and flatmates for a long time. Matias, in addition to working for the local police, is a law student at Rio's best new law institution, according to Nascimento, where his classmates are shown as well-off young adults who view the police as a repressive unit, while others are selling marijuana on campus. He quickly makes friends with Roberta, Edu, and Maria. All 3 working for an NGO that helps disadvantaged youngsters in a nearby favela. Roberta is dating Rodriguez, who assists Maria with the organization's administration, as well as representing a senator who sponsors the NGO. They all smoke marijuana on a regular basis, with Edu working as a salesman in Baiano, the local drug lord who lets the NGO run as long as it doesn't interfere with his operation or draw police notice. Matias's police career is unknown to the students and dealers since he keeps it hidden. Neto becomes dissatisfied with his job as the mechanic quickly, but he's unable to transfer to another department. By riding with his superior, Captain Fabio, he learns about widespread police corruption schemes in which small business owners pay bribes to the cops on a regular basis in exchange for their presence in front of their establishments, making them safer. Another scheme, which Matias learns the hard way, is the transfer of dead bodies to other battalion areas in order to artificially lower one's criminal statistics and leave less work for the battalion's department, which Matias learns the hard way when his superiors rage at him for filling their department with files they're too lazy to solve. Furthermore, because the local government did not have the funds to pay for tow trucks, they opted to employ private tow trucks and pay for each car hauled. Towing automobiles has since become a lucrative business, and corrupt police have been found to possess tow trucks. Neto devises a scheme to accept bribes in order to generate enough money to repair several police cars at once. Oliveira collects from the medikit masters on a regular basis and enlists the help of Matias and Fabio. Fabio deteriorates because he'll not be part of it. The couple succeeds in obtaining the money, but Oliveira accepts Fabio's request and drags him to a Bale Funk in Babylonia, where he intends to hand him over for the pack for murder. While Neto and Matias confront him, he informs them about the funk party, implying that they'll be slain. Netto and Matthias follow them to the vantage point where Fabio will be protected. When one of the dealers puts his hand on his revolver, Netto fires, killing the dealer and inciting a firefight between the cops and the dealers. Fabio hides behind a bar and engages in a battle with Oliveira's men, while his two bodyguards fight some of the heavily armed dealers with only 2 pistols, a rifle, and a submachine gun, but they run out of ammunition rapidly. Meanwhile, Nascimento is met with a woman who claims the body of her son, who was murdered by drug lords after being compelled to confess by Nascimento, who was then released despite the risk. Nascimento gathers a few officers and goes after the body, feeling horrible and thinking about his unborn kid. Nascimento learns of the situation in Babylonia and is asked to intervene just as they're torturing a member of the boys' group into informing them where they've left him. Nascimento meets Matthias and Netto after rescuing the trapped officers at Babylonia and directs them to begin loading up bodies. They're photographed by the press while lifting the body of a local drug kingpin. They also learn about Bope's upcoming training program and apply as soon as possible. Both decide to give it a shot, and Fabio joins them in their attempt to get away from Oliveira. Meanwhile, Nascimento's son, Rafael, is born. Just as the NGO program is about to begin, Maria and her friends are confronted by Baiano, who learned of Matthias's job as an officer after seeing his picture in the newspaper carrying the body of a drug lord, whom he reveals to have been his friend and partner from another neighborhood with whom he'd been dealing drugs. Baiano then threatens them with getting rid of Matthias. Meanwhile, Bope's training program takes place over several weeks in the Brazilian wilderness and presents an extreme challenge, with all selected officers being subjected to extreme physical and mental disciplines, as well as being prepared under extreme weight, in order to dispose of the frail and, above all, rebuff the degenerate. As Nascimento clarifies, as the goal is to dispose of all degenerate and rationally frail officers. Many officers drop out of the training, including Fabio, after he develops foot fungus. But Netto and Matthias make it to the top and are assigned to Nascimento's final operation. Netto gets a Bope tattoo, too. Matthias confronts Edu and instructs him to set up a meeting with Romerito, a child with vision problems, whom he met at the NGO and who is now willing to supply him with a pair of spectacles. Matthias blackmails Edu into holding the meeting at the slum's base because he knows he'll be assassinated once inside. Netto, on the other hand, informs Matthias that he has a job to interview scheduled for the same day and time as Matthias and offers to go in his place to bring Romerito the glasses. When Edu tells Baiano that he was threatened by Matthias, the drug lord vows to exact revenge on Matthias for killing his friend and disrupting his operations. Netto is hauled out by Baiano and his men after giving Romerito his glasses. Baiano notices Netto's tattoo and realizes he's a Bope officer before finishing him off. He kidnaps Roberta and Rodriguez and murders them as a punishment for bringing a Bope officer to his slum, shooting Roberta in the head and necklacing Rodriguez. He then seeks refuge in a favela in Rio. Soon after, Netto succumbs to his injuries and dies in the hospital. Matthias, Nascimento, and their colleagues at Bope Cops begin making daily excursions into Baiano's ghetto in hopes of torturing criminals into informing them where he is. One of them reveals that Edu informed Baiano of Matthias's meeting, which resulted in Netto's killing. Matthias, enraged, disrupts a peace walk, assaults Edu, and taunts Maria and the others, accusing them of being nothing more than spoilt, hypocritical drug users who work for a dealer to make ends meet. Finally, the officers track down Baiano and conduct a raid on the slum. Baiano attempts to flee but is wounded in the leg while running across the rooftops. Nascimento has him under gunpoint, but Baiano begs the captain not to kill him in the face so that his visage can be preserved for the wake. Nascimento then goes away, takes out a shotgun, offers it to Matthias, and orders him to kill Baiano in the head as a final test of Matthias's worthiness as his genuine successor. Matthias cocks the slide and shows evident hesitancy before pointing the gun away from the drug lord's face. Final gunshot rings out as the screen fades to black. We hope you enjoyed our video today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to receive notifications of new and interesting videos.